Warning: Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
There are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
All right, now that we have a little bit more time, we can get a little bit more petty. People running around here acting like they don't know what the causation was. It wasn't really black voters. You know, black voters, they showed up like they always do. And ever since I did my last video, I've been seeing a lot more people using the talking points of the lamestream media, saying basically it was Latinos, black folks didn't do it. No. As I said, I was going to prove that we did this. Black folks did not show up, and that's how we got here. Now, before we get into the meat of the situation, let's get this out the way.
Showing out in the crowd, feeling so fancy, got my stinger ready. Watch out, y'all, it's time to get petty. Watch out, get petty, don't you fret it. Gonna serve it up, nice and sweaty. Keep it funky, keep it steady. Hey, you, it's time to get petty.
Family, I ain't gonna lie, I love that intro. I love that intro so much. Yeah, so I wanted to start off, let's take her back a little bit, back in the time. This is the article from Politico. And what I want to do here, I want to show you guys that they've been telling the world what was going to be the causation of Kamala Harris's loss. This was no secret. And it was always about the black turnout. That's what it was always about. And because we did not turn out like they feared, Kamala lost like they thought. And like we said. However, I want to get to this because there are some core things that I want to show you guys here, right? So this article is from September 2024. And I want to get to this highlighted portion here that I had. The hard work, which Harris also called joyous, starts with the vice president's ability to make an effective policy pitch to black voters, particularly those outside urban areas, and mobilize them to get to the polls in November. driving up black voter turnout is crucial. Is crucial to her chances at winning in swing states across the country. And as we all saw, every single swing state went red. Every single swing state went red. Now, this is back in September, right? If we can get the turnout in rural Georgia, in rural North Carolina, in rural Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, where we've got sizable pockets of black and brown voters, it didn't work out on either side. It puts less pressure on our urban areas, and it really allows us to run up the score. So they hoped to grab us and pull us to the polls. But the problem is they couldn't get it done. They didn't have the right messaging for the Latinos, apparently, and they wasn't doing what we told them to do when it came to foundational black Americans, which was reparations, a transformative black agenda, a national hate crime bill for black Americans. I mean, it's very simple. And they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do not one of the things. So, she lost. As they predicted. And as we said, it was going to happen as well. Now, let's move on to this next article here. Excuse me, cut that off here. And this article is called, "How Will Black Voters Impact the 2024 Election? Depends which generation you ask." Should say depend on, but okay. So let's get into it here. It's no secret that black Americans, particularly black women, helped President Joe Biden secure a seat in the Oval Office nearly 4 years ago. And see, anytime, and you see how they already starting off bad, black Americans, particularly black women. Okay. This year started out differently. More young black men in America's swing states say they plan to back Republican nominee Donald Trump. And black voters, especially young black voters, may have power in the election based on how they don't vote. Isn't that what we've been saying? We've been saying there's power in withholding your vote for a long time. And a lot of people were sitting there trying to make us sound like we knew nothing about civics. I'm a political scientist, and they try to make it seem like I didn't know what I was talking about when I tell people that voting is an exchange. It is a business deal, a transaction. It is not a favor. It is not for fun and games. It is not something you just toss away on a whim because you're emotional. One person tried to tell me that voting was about forgiveness. And I had to explain to her, I don't know where the hell you got that from. But ain't nobody in any other community running around here talking about they forgive anyone if you're not bringing no tangibles to them. But here they're admitting that there's power in the way you don't vote. See. Yet, not voting can be viewed as a profound statement of empathy for black Americans, given our painful and difficult history securing the safety and legal right to vote. See, that's that's one of those things that they do to try to get you very emotional about voting. But the logical thing is, if there's nothing to vote for, why should you just go and give away your vote for free? Especially when they're telling you directly they're not going to do anything for you while doing for everyone else, while you're watching hate crime bills get given to people who haven't seen actually the spikes that we've seen in hate crimes. Has never seen the spikes that we've seen. While you're giving away free housing, free food, free just debit cards, thousands of dollars on it to a bunch of people who aren't even citizens. The black community sees this. And they believe that we should just go and vote against our own interest. Let's move on to this next article here. They believe we should vote our own against our interests, but we showed them very, 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 very differently. How black voter turnout could impact the 2024 presidential race. This is from November 5th. On the day of, right? Want to make sure, okay. Black voters have historically played a pivotal role in American elections. Both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump have been trying to gain their support as Election Day unfolds on Tuesday in the U.S. I think over the course of the last week, we've seen a real surge, and it's almost a sense of peer pressure. Really? We didn't see that. But go ahead. Let's go. Let him go off, or whoever go off. If your neighbors are excited, you're the only one on the block that ain't excited. We're pushing you to get excited, said Ed Gordon, a CBS News contributor. And how did that work out for you guys? Didn't work out too well, did it? And we continue. According to Pew Research, the number of black eligible voters in the U.S. is estimated to be more than 34 million. Now remember that number, family. Remember, 34 million is the eligible voters in the black community. The number of, which is up 7% from the last presidential election in 2020. Black voters account for 14% of all eligible votes. And that sounds really, really, really wrong, because they don't give us the right numbers. They don't give us the right population numbers. They don't give us the right voting numbers, because if that was the case, why would they be tripping all out, going crazy about the black vote if it's only 14%? So I believe it's closer to 20, if not higher. But let's continue. Some polls have shown reservations among black male voters. A recent CBS News poll shows 87% of likely black voters are supporting Harris over Trump. And as we stand here, almost a week away from the polling day, the voting day, the day Kamala Harris was slaughtered, we don't see that black support that they claimed that she had. We can't tell by looking at the map, and it's full red. Where are those black voters? Where are those black voters for Kamala Harris? I also think the rhetoric that we've heard from Donald Trump over the course of the last week and a half is really moving black Americans to say, this is not the man for us, including black men, said Gordon. Here's the thing, though. Black men never said this was the man for us. Now, you had some people in the black community who are men who said, yeah, we're voting Trump. Yeah, some women. Yeah, voting Trump. The bulk of us said, no, we're not voting for you, and we're not voting for you. We're going to vote this couch and make it do what it do. And that's what we did. And that's what we did. Now, let's move to this next article here. Voting rates for the non-Hispanic black population dropped in the 2016 presidential elections. And I want to read this highlighted portion that I have here. According to new U.S. Census Bureau data, voting turnout increased to 65.3% for non-Hispanic whites, but decreased to 59.6% for non-Hispanic blacks in the 2016 presidential election, figure 2. This compared to the 2012 when more non-Hispanic blacks, 66.6%, voted than non-Hispanic whites, 64.1%, for the first time in this series. So in 2016, they were already detailing, 2017, they were already detailing how 2016, more of the voter base within the black community was dropping off. And that's because literally we said no to Hillary Clinton. We said no to Donald Trump. Didn't go for either one. Same way we said no to Kamala Harris and said no to Donald Trump. Didn't vote for either one. For the most part. For the most part. So let's get to this next article here. Black voter turnout was down in 2022. Democrat operatives are panicking about what it could mean for 2024. Like I said, family, they been new. They been new that it was going to be us that sinks her candidacy. They been knew it was going to be us to sink Biden. So don't let them lie to you and say it was someone else. It was us. An informal group of black elected officials have lit up over phone calls and texts since Election Day. They're worried about black turnout. They're worried about black turnout that continues to underperform. That continues to underperform. And talking ideas about how to turn it around before the next presidential election. So I don't want to hear nothing. They knew. They already knew 2 years ago that black voters wasn't showing up, that they were underperforming, that they had to turn it around before the next presidential election. Black voters didn't go for Republicans in significant numbers. Same thing that happened here. But in many places, they just didn't show up. They just didn't show up. See, that's the most powerful thing that we could have done in this election. Just not show up. Not go give our vote to somebody just because we needs to vote because our people died for the right to. No. You didn't give us what we needed, so we just didn't show up. All right, let me go back. But in many places, they just didn't show up to vote at the rate they used to, underperforming when compared to other voter groups in this year's midterms. That's all it takes, family. That's all it takes. And guess what? That's all it took. That's all it took. 34 million eligible voters. And I guarantee you, they didn't even get a third of that. Let's move to this next article. Family. This article here, this is kind of letting you know the power we have without letting us know that, hey, it was the blacks. You gotta look out for the blacks. It says, this straight from Reuters, excuse me. In a first, U.S. independent turnout tops Democrats, ties Republicans, Edison Research says. Oh, snap. For the first time ever, the independents turnout topped the Democrats and tied with the Republicans? Could it be because many people have been switching from Democrats to independents? Could it be because those people are actually a part of the black community who's walking away from the Democratic Party? Self-identified independents accounted for a larger share of voters in Tuesday's U.S. presidential election than Democrats and were tied with Republicans, Edison Research exit polling data showed. It was the first time since Edison began exit polling in 2004 that independent share of overall turnout has exceeded that of one of the two major U.S. political parties. The the independent share stood at 34% in the latest update of Edison's exit polls, compared to 34% for Republicans and 32% for Democrats. See, family, we stay home, we vote independent or third party, and literally we overturn numbers at large amounts. Breaking records. Being us. And voting the couch. The independent turnout share was up 8 percentage points from 2020, when at 26%, it was a distant third to both Democrats and Republicans. As in 2020, independents favored the Democratic candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, but Republican Donald Trump, nonetheless, improved his performance with the key swing voter bloc. Some 50% of independents said they voted for Harris and 45% for Trump, a 4% point improvement for the Republicans in 2020. So, family, we're switching up the numbers when it comes to how the whole presidential election is run, how the numbers are saw. Because they said in 2020, what, the independents was 26%. They called it a distant third. Black Americans, Foundational Black American Freedmen said, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna just sit this out. No, we're not Democrats. We're not Republicans. We're going to sit this out. We're going to vote the couch. Some of us say, you know what? We're going to vote third party. Some of us say, you know what? We're going to give Trump a try. He ain't do nothing too bad. We're going to go ahead and get these illegals up out of here. And because of that, for the first time in a long time, if ever, the independent party has outshowed both, they outshowed the Democratic Party, but they tied with the Republican Party. Very interesting, ain't it? Now let's move to this article, family. Now, this is an article I would like you all to go actually look up. It's a pretty lengthy article. However, I wanted to bring it to your attention, and it's entitled, "We Talked to Black Voters in 5 Battleground States." Here's what they said. And like I said, they spoke to people in Philadelphia, Detroit, Atlanta, North Carolina, and what was that last one? I want to make sure. Milwaukee. So we're going to read this part of the article here, and then if you want to read the rest for yourself, you definitely can go and do that on your own time. The impact of black voters have been heavily scrutinized in the 2024 presidential campaign. At question is whether this voting bloc, which historically breaks overwhelmingly for Democrats, is showing signs of fracturing. Vice President Kamala Harris, seeking to make history as the first black, an Indian American woman to win the White House, could also face the highest number of defections amongst black voters in decades. When was this? The 5th. The 5th of November. All right. Let's continue. Politico deployed reporters to 5 key battleground states to talk to black voters on the eve of the election to assess their fears, concerns, and hopes for the outcome in this cycle where campaigns courted their votes like never before. Nope. That was the same old playbook. They used the same old tactics, the same old benign neglect, and we didn't go for it. Because they were doing the same old thing. See, doing something like never before would have said, would have been something like, hey, let us give you this black hate crime bill. Let us give you reparations. See, that's like never before. Let us give you some policies that directly affect the black community in a positive manner. That's something that would be something that's never before. But they stuck with that same old benign neglect. And we didn't show up for them like never before. Harris' campaign said she's exhausted every tool in her arsenal to reach them, except for reparations and a transformative black agenda, a black hate crime bill. Except actually listening to the black grassroots. She's hobnobbed with Oprah, like that matters to people. Released the opportunity agenda with specifics on how her economic plan would benefit black men, and set with podcasters included All the Smoke, Club Shay Shay, and The Shade Room. All 3 of those you could see the issue with. All 3 of those being paid by the Democratic Party. All 3 of those tossed her softballs or layup as, I think, what's his name? Big head bastard. Steve Harvey. The alley-oop. Tossing her the alley-oop. And that's exhausting all your tools in your arsenal? Interesting. To reach audiences outside the traditional media echo chamber. and she deployed Barack and Michelle Obama to campaign for her, which was a big mistake. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump and his allies have also been ramping up outreach to black voters. Let me get down here. As black men in America, I get it. I get how some people would view it as a historical event for Kamala Harris. Representative Brian Daniels from Florida, that tether punk bastard who says he don't believe in reparations because he doesn't qualify. An ally of former president said Sunday on an X Space event hosted by the Black Conservative Federation, but history does not put food on your table. History does not keep our community safe. And history doesn't have the United States thrive. So all of us can thrive. Let's just continue. Heading into the final stretch of the campaign, polls have tightened amongst black voters. A recent NAACP survey suggests that black voters' empathy may actually be more of a stumbling block for Trump. Really. With black men under 50 less likely to back the former president in the final month of the campaign. Now, it's funny that they said black voters under 50 are less likely, when in the other article we read, they were talking about younger black voters was talking about how they wanted to vote for Trump. Well, at least the voters that they spoke to. Interesting. But it's also kind of correct because black voters really wasn't feeling either one. So guess what? We really wasn't feeling either one. We didn't really vote for either one. We let the racists fight it out. Go ahead and do your thing. At the end of the day, we're still going to be fighting white supremacy over here on this side. At the end of the day, we're still going to be pushing for a black hate crime bill over here on this side. At the end of the day, we're still going to be pushing for reparations over here on this side. At the end of the day, we're going to be pushing for transformative policy over here on this side. So y'all go fight it out. Because no matter who in office, we're fighting white supremacy. And that's what it is. I know people in my community and family members who are undecided said, Korea, Van, I might have slaughtered that, but oh well. A first grade teacher in Milwaukee on Friday. It's kind of scary at this point in the election. Oh, is it? Where are you from? What's scary about it? I don't know. From this point, it gets into the different articles, because it's like I said, there's 5 different articles here. If y'all want to go back and read, please go ahead and do so. But we're going to move on to the next article. See, this here is the American Presidency Project. This is voter turnout in presidential elections. Okay, so I want to go here. And so the first row here is turnout. Second row here is voting age population. The third row is the voter eligibility, because even though you might be voter age population, you might not be eligible to vote due to things like, felonies and things like that. Registered voters in the fourth aisle. Turnout as VAP, which is the voting age population, and turnout as of voting eligibility population. Let's go 2008. So 2008, the year Obama was elected, there was 131,406,895 people who turned out to vote. There was 229,989,000 who were voting age. And then there was 213,313,508 who were eligible to vote. In 2008, there was a 146,311,000 who registered to vote. So off the back, and I hope you guys see where I'm going with this. Off the back, you had 146,311,000 people who registered to vote. The voting eligibility of them was 213,313,508. So automatically right there, a large chunk of people in the population did not vote. That's just what it is. Even out of the registered voters in 2008, about what, a little over 10 million? 13, 14 million, looks like, of the people who registered didn't even show up. Let's go down to 2012. 129,139,997 showed up to vote. And the eligibility, well, the voter age was 240,177,000. The eligibility was 222,474,100,000, excuse me. Yep, no. I said that wrong. 222,474,111 voters were eligible to vote. And the registered voters was 153,157,000 people who registered. If you're looking at that, that's almost a 20,000 voter gap who stayed home from the registered voters. 2016, 136,787,187 people showed up. Voting age was 249,422,000. Voter eligibility was 230,931,921. And the people who registered is 157,596,000. So once again, we're looking at over a 20 million voter fall off who just didn't show up from the people who registered. Let's move forward. 2020. 158,481,688, which a lot of us is questioning. A lot of us is questioning. But let's continue. The voting age, 252,274,000. The voting eligibility was 240,628,443. And the people who registered was 168,308,000. So that's still a fall off, even if the numbers were, tampered with. That's still a fall off of 10 million voters who just did not show up. So I wanted to go through that because I wanted people to understand that when we're talking about numbers and statistics, that they're taking from a portion of a portion of a portion. So if you can just get the actual numbers, then you'll be able to actually decipher how many people actually showed up. Now remember, we have 34 million who within the black community that eligible to vote. Let's move forward. 2024 election turnouts. Now, this is from Election Lab. In the United States for 2024, we see voting eligibility population turnout. So, total of ballots counted was 155,391,700. And the numbers have changed since the last time I checked, but they're still counting and bringing in ballots as well. So I understand that. So that's how many ballots we have counted. In the population, eligible voters of 244,666,890. And the voting age, 264,798,961. And then this is giving you the overseas eligibility 3.3 million, and the total felons ineligibles is 2.5. Now if we take this number here, oh yeah, we're about to get into some numbers here. So if we were 11%, before we do that, I want to go here. All right, so this is the exit poll, right? If blacks were 11% of the overall voting ballots, and the overall voting ballots is 155,391,700 ballots, then we can now determine 11% and toss that in there. So 17,093,087 ballots would be how many people voted from the black community out of the 34 million that they said is eligible to vote. That's all. Now, from this, we can also have to, let me rephrase that. We have to also account for the about 5% of immigrant blacks who is bundled in with us who are eligible to vote, which is probably about 3% from the black population. So when it comes down to this and the numbers, they're saying that black voters overwhelmingly 90 percentile. No. See, 90%, 91%, 85%, any of those percentiles, you would need all 34 million black voters to be voting. You would need all 34 eligible black voters to be voting to see an actual 85 percentile of all black voters. See what I'm saying? Instead, when you actually look at it and you look at how many black voters actually voted, the 11%, you get about 17 million. Not about, you get 17 million out of 34 million. Let that sink in. And about 5% of that, maybe let's be gracious, give it 3%, because not all Africans are, let's just say immigrant blacks, not all of them are of voting age. So we got to say somewhere about 3%. 3% of this is going to be your immigrant vote. So about 5 million? No, 500,000. That ain't even much. It is not that much. But still, my point. This is how they play with the numbers. Now, let's get back over here. You know who won? And that you already see here. This man won with the same numbers as Kamala Harris. 85%. And if you notice, this man won all the red states that would usually be red. This man won. And all the states that would usually be blue are all red. That was a crazy time, apparently. But yes, I want to show you his numbers. By race, Carter got 83% of the vote. So he got less of the vote than Kamala, if you want to look at just strictly on the numbers, right? And 17% went to Ford. But the difference between him and Kamala is more people showed up to vote in the black community for Jimmy Carter. So his 83% was out of a higher number because more people was showing up to vote. Her 83% is out of the 17 million. His 83%, I'm pretty sure, was closer to the 25, 30 million, depending on the eligible voting age, you know. But that's what it is. We did this. So now it's time to check out all the crash outs that we didn't get a chance to get to last week, and some of the other information I wanted to bring to you guys. Let's get to the good. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because I've just been seeing a lot of people really freaking out and acting crazy. We all seen the crash outs. And so I just so happened to just type in mental health issues after election and look at all the articles that's now splaining, trying to make it seem like look at this. Post-election emotions. Here are expert tips and resources to manage your mental health. Look at this one. The election is decimating the mental health of millions of workers this week. LGBTQ plus youth calls to mental health crisis line spikes by 700% after the election. Anxiety surrounding election day is high. Find out how mental health professionals blah blah. This is the stuff that they're pushing. And I would have to submit to you, family, that maybe the Democratic Party targets the people who are not mentally sane. I mean, LGBTQ, I mean, you know, up until, you know, the 80s or something like that, like, being gay and trans, that was in the mental health book. It was known, well, it was in the medical book, but it was known as a mental health disorder. And I mean, now that language has been removed from the lexicon and all they're doing is pushing LGBTQ agendas. I'm just saying, family, I don't beat me for it. I'm just saying. I'm just making an observation. Just making an observation. Let's continue, family. You guys remember Roly Poly Martin's favorite giraffe, right? Now, I want to play something for you. Let's get this going.
So Donald Trump has been reelected, and it's always fuck MAGA over here. But my smoke is not so much for them, because Republicans gonna do what the fuck they do. They always vote, and they ain't got to be begged like the motherfucking whiny bitch ass Democrats have to be begged to vote. They do what they supposed to do. So that's baked into the cake. My smoke is for the 10 plus or whatever the final number ends up being, Biden voters that stayed the fuck home. You bitches saw what mother.
First of all, the audacity for her to even believe, for her to even conceive or just put it into her head that all the people who said no to Biden are Biden voters. All the people who decided to stay home were Biden voters. And that's the problem. Y'all think y'all own folk, and y'all don't own nobody. Y'all don't own nobody. You barely own your own body. Because it was the Biden administration that was forcing people to get the Jabberwocky, or they were going to get fired, or they become a social pariah. Jesus Christ.
Motherfucking Donald Trump did his 4 years in office. You voted his ass out. You've seen him become more racist and more unhinged. And you said, whatever happens, happens. Fuck you.
We've seen y'all become more racist and unhinged as well. I've seen Joe Biden over the past 4 years become more and more racist and unhinged. I've seen Kamala Harris do the same. And now that she's lost, I've seen all you Democratic shills do the very same thing. Become more and more unhinged.
This isn't some realignment of the country. Donald Trump did not get more votes this time than he did in 2020. What it is it's a motherfucking disease of apathy in this country, a disease of stupidity, a disease of letting disinformation win, of people not having fucking civics knowledge, and of people not fucking paying attention to the motherfucking issues, because all of the economic analysis said that Donald Trump's shit is going to make this fucking country worse. So here's what it is. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be on MAGA's head, especially that bitch ass JD Vance. I'm going to be on all you non-voters ass head. Because whatever the fuck happens, bitch, is what y'all motherfucking ask for. When you're getting fucking deported, when your prices is going up, when your healthcare is going away, this is what you bitches ask for. So I don't want to hear shit. It's fucking pathetic that millions of people, tens of millions of people stopped giving a fuck when everything was on the line this election. And you bitches stayed home.
Yeah, family. So notice the same talking point that she just tried to push out right there. A disease of apathy. No, it's just people being fed up. I don't know how long you think people will sit there and watch you spit in their face before they get up and punch you in the nose. I don't know how long you think that you can actually throw dirt on somebody before they actually take that dirt, put it inside of a trash bag, set it on fire, and put it in front of your house. Most likely, it won't be dirt. So the whole just audacity of this whole damn party is just being overlooked by them, not by us. Now, here's why she was so angry.
In your chat right now, Roland, I noticed, even though they won, there are all of these chaos agents, these Trump supporters, these fake FBA ADOS people who are relentlessly, everything that comes out of our mouth, they're countering in this chat, and they're amplifying Donald Trump. So even though they won, they're not letting up on their communication strategy, because they understand that this is a cumulative impact of making sure that their narrative is the winning narrative.
Now, I'm gonna restart that because I want you to understand what she is saying. She done literally admitted that we won. She's not talking about the Republicans. She's talking about the black community, the people that she was just cussing the hell out.
And I noticed, even though they won, there are all of these chaos agents, these Trump supporters, these fake FBA ADOS people who are relentlessly, everything that comes out of our mouth, they're countering in this chat, and they're amplifying Donald Trump. So
when are you hearing any of us in the new black media or the black grassroots amplifying Donald Trump? Now, some of the people who voted for Donald Trump, they're going around explaining why they voted for Donald Trump. It's not that they're amplifying it. A lot of people are just celebrating the fact that Kamala lost. And that should say something about your candidate. Then she tried to put FBAs in the boat with ADOS when ADOS is an organization, FBA is a lineage. You don't have to be in ADOS in order to be an FBA, because your lineage is what your lineage is. ADOS is an organization, which means you're a part of that organization. The black grassroots is not a part of any organization. Our organizing is only to do one thing, and that's push policies for black Americans. But let's continue.
even though they won, they're not letting up on their communication strategy because they understand that this is a cumulative impact of making sure that their narrative is the winning narrative. And so Democrats have to attack all of the conversations we have with the same level of discipline and relentlessness that Republicans are showing. That, to me, is the very first step, is being as relentless and as devoted to countering what the Republicans do. Now, I thought they did a pretty decent job during the Trump era of having their press conferences and pointing out all the bad stuff that Republicans were doing, but they didn't point out all the bad stuff they were doing while Biden and Harris were in office. And so they have to not let up this election for the remainder of the Biden-Harris administration, and they have to invest in the same things that the Republicans have invested in. If they do that, then we have a fighting chance with West or with whoever else will be the nominee in 2028.
Now notice, family, this woman is wearing the exact same thing as she was wearing in the clip with Rollins. So she went from speaking like that on national television to going into her car and cussing out all of us for not riding with the Democrats. How professional, right? How ladylike, right? Because her candidate didn't win. Aw, wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo. I want to give a shout out to Red Joker, because he be on points with these. And this is literally just so on point. There are absolutely no Indians crashing out for Kamala. Have you noticed that? There are no Indians crashing out for Kamala. But you know who are? Too loud and too wrong. Let's give this man, oh, what happened here? Hold up, let me put this back in there. There we go. I don't know why that went like that, but yeah. Let's give this man the stage. Too loud, too wrong.
Y'all, these people think the black people are playing. They think this is a trend. No, this is the end.
What do you mean the black people? I thought, no. See, you over there and the black community over here. You a Democrat shield. Black communities over here repping for black people. What do you mean? Black people, like as if you were part of this over here. No. See. And that's what they've been doing too. The language, they're trying hard. And I said this in one of my Twitter posts the other day. If you don't follow me on X, go ahead and do so. I said in one of my posts that, you know, when I see Vanessa Jones, and I got a clip of that, trying to speak about what has the Democrats did for black men, this, that, the third. Oh, you trying to sound more like the black grassroots. You want to sound like us. No. Remember. You ain't a part of us. You a shield. And I'm going to speak more on that when we get to that section. But still, this is what this dude is trying to do.
Okay, it's over. We're done with. We're done. You guys are cooked, and you're cooked alone. You're by your fucking selves. When Trump is inaugurated on January 20th, we will not be on the fucking front lines of anything. You might have some black pick-me people might go over there and protest with you, but I know my black ass won't. I will not, okay? I just researched it, and I found out that I can. I Googled it, and I found out that I can. No, I've looked into it, and I found out that I can. I can't because you didn't have our fucking backs. You know, allyship is transactional. When I have your back, you have mine. Okay, that's how it works. It's transactional. It's reciprocal. Okay, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You didn't scratch our backs. You didn't have our backs. You left us fucking behind, and you left us fucking for granted. You left us on the battlefield by our fucking selves. So now, deal with the consequences of your fucking actions. Don't ask me for shit. Don't ask me to protest. Don't ask me to petition. Don't ask me to do a motherfucking thing.
So basically, he's talking about delineating. That's odd. Because when we was talking about delineating, we were xenophobic. When we was talking about delineating, we were being divisive. It's very divisive. when we try to delineate. So now that Kamala lost, all of a sudden black people in the Democratic Party talking about delineation? Let's see how long that lasts, because, you know, they can't win without the black community, and they don't want people knowing that it's the black community that's, you know, pushing the needle. So they gotta throw in brown every time they mention black and brown. So let's see how long this delineation nonsense within the Democratic Party lasts. Often imitated, but never can be duplicated. Let's continue.
But mind my own black ass fucking business. Okay, y'all played in our fucking face. Y'all pretended like y'all cared about black lives. And the sad thing about it is, it wasn't like we weren't gonna hold Kamala accountable. We said that if we elect Kamala Harris, we will hold her accountable and we will try to do our best in our...
That's the problem there. That's the problem there. You talking about, and all you dummies that be running around here talking about, we got to get them in office first, then we hold them accountable. No, that's how you get people who gets in the office and do what Joe Biden did as soon as he got in the office, when he talking about, oh, black Americans, you have my back and I'ma have yours. And as soon as he got in there, he opened the borders, removed all the policies that Trump had into place to keep the border closed. He removed all of that. And then he let in all of these migrants. Oh, what did he do after that? Oh, he went and gave the Asians a hate crime bill. Then he gave Native Americans, the red Native Americans, one of the largest endowments in presidential history. Then he turned around and did prison reform for Native Americans. Then he turned around and he was giving out funds, reparations to the people who were separated at the border, who illegally crossed. Then he sat here, gave money to Ukraine, gave money to illegal immigrants so that they can be housed, so they can be fed, so that they can have whatever they needed culturally and all that other nonsense. Then he gave money, more money to Ukraine, more money to Israel. Then when Hurricane Beryl and the other hurricane down in Florida went through, that hit through Florida and Jackson, I'm spacing on the name of that hurricane, but I'm sure the family will remind me in the comment section. The hurricanes hit us. I think it was Helene. Anyway, the hurricane hit us from Beryl to Helene to Monty. And they offer the American people $750, where most of the people was denied. This is what's been going on with this party. So
our damnness to try to get a ceasefire. Even Kamala Harris agreed on a ceasefire and a two-state solution, and that still wasn't enough for you. Trump did not believe in any of these things. So whatever happens, happens. It's not that black people won't have empathy. It's not that black people won't feel bad for you. But the sad thing is, you might have to hurt in order to actually understand it.
Like I said, all that is garbage. Everything this man stands for is garbage. That's what it is. And trust me, you will be standing on your own, especially once you get your nigga wake-up call. Don't look for the black community. Don't look for the black community whatsoever. Because people like you sell out your community for a whole different community because you're a skittle bag. You want your sexual access. Anyway, we're not going to continue with this numbskull here. We're going to go to another, another zest. Just zest on top of zest. But like I said, I'm wondering if that's deliberate. You know, those issues that used to be in the health book, you know, mental issues, you know.
Okay, so since Trump won the election, we're cooked. Yup. I'm gonna be leaving the US and I'm gonna be moving to Hawaii. So we'll see how it goes. And I'll update you guys.
I think he's gonna be
since Trump
pretty damn pissed off once he gets to Hawaii and see that American flag. Does this man not know that Hawaii is a part of America? It's actually a state. It's not even a province. It's a state in America. It's not a territory. He probably thought Hawaii was just a piece of Asia that floated further towards the Pacific. What's wrong with these people? It gots to be the mental health. Now, I've been seeing a lot of these videos too, family, where they have these Latinos crying about their status and crying about their having to work hard to get to this country and all this blah, blah, blah. You see right here to the right where it says report illegal aliens. It's the law. So while y'all over here talking about black people being criminals and all this other stuff, no. The real criminals, the Democratic Party, have been funding and continues to fund. Let's hear what this wine baby is gonna say.
Years, 6 fucking years. It took us 6 fucking years to get our citizenship. I know some people need more time. I know some people don't ever get their citizenship, but we worked so hard for it. She worked so hard for it. I was just we came here because she wanted a better life for us. She wanted a better education for us. She wanted for us to have a...
Why is that our responsibility? You having a better life and not building one for yourself back in your homeland is not my concern. You coming here to build a better life off the backs of black Americans is. She said it took 6 years for her mom to get her citizenship. And she knows other people need more time, which means your mother came here illegally too. So no. You could cry all the way to the bank. Take out whatever you got in there and then cry all the way to the border. And then take your ass back to where you're supposed to be and cry over there and make a better life for yourself there. But if your mother's a citizen, you don't really have to worry. You were born here, so you really don't have to worry for you or your mother. It's your homies, your cousins, your abuelas who didn't get their citizenship, who crossed the border illegally. It's them that she's crying about.
A better future. And now this is all gonna be taken away because of him. Because of that stupid.
so is everyone who crossed that border, because that is a felony that they committed by crossing that border. And that felon is now the next president of the United States. So guess what? I'm pretty sure those charges are all going to go away. I wouldn't be surprised if Biden and Trump make a deal to where they pardon each other. Because trust me, some things will get brought out about Biden after he leaves the presidency, and I'm pretty sure they will be trying to prosecute the man for it. Oh, Democrats just set a precedent when they tried to prosecute Trump. Oh, we prosecuting former presidents? Okay, no problem. Let's get this in then. So I'm sure a deal will be made. Let's let this crazy person continue.
Anymore. I can't. I'm not coming back. I'm never coming back here until he leaves the house. He's ruining my life, her life, and the lives of every single immigrant in this country. 6 years.
I hope you do never come back. And I hope that the border gets super secured to where none of you can ever come back. Ever. How is he ruining your life? By making you go back to your homeland. That's interesting. Being American first is ruining the illegals' lives. That is a very, very interesting thing to me. But let's move on. This woman, apparently her husband gave no damns about voting for Trump. And she didn't like that.
For my husband, I'm like, are you sure you want to vote Republican? And he's like, he's saying he's going to deport criminals. You're not a criminal. Every time we go to ICE, they tell you, Mr. Juarez, your wife is no criminal. He voted for him, and now he's deporting his wife.
And now they deported me, they kicking me out, and they breaking my family apart. Before you enlist in the military, think it twice. Before you marry an immigrant, think it twice. Think it if it's really worth for you to sell this country.
For my husband, I'm like,
yeah, that's hilarious. Her husband voted for Trump, and now she's going to be getting deported, she says. Yes. Here's a question. If he's your husband and he's a citizen and he's able to vote, how are you not a citizen? No. Because when you marry someone, after a year, that person becomes a citizen. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There was whole scams built off of this in the 90s. There's still scams to this day. Mail order brides. You marry someone, after a year, they become a citizen. So tell me, how are you not a citizen if that is your husband? I don't even think that this is a real situation. This may be a whole hoax that the Democrats are trying to put on just to tug on people's emotional heartstrings. Because it makes no logical sense. If your husband is a citizen and y'all been married, then you too would have been a citizen and gotten your citizenship after a year. Let's continue, family. You got this guy here. Shout out to Tariq for posting this. No, he ain't cheated. The black community just didn't show up. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. Get used to it. Get used to it. Get used to it. Let's move on. You got the tether community coming out who really mad that her own father said, nah, we getting these folks up out of here. Damn that. I worked hard to get my citizenship. They need to do the same. So now she's talking about never speaking to her father again.
I'm here at work and I just got done crying. I found out that my dad today, who's an immigrant, by the way, he voted for Donald Trump. I feel betrayed and I feel hurt and I feel confused that a man who...
I'm pretty sure your neck feels in pain trying to hold up that big old bobblehead you got there. Like, every time I used to think that people with big heads tilt their head all the time because, you know what I'm saying, they're like, you know, emphasizing a point or something like that. Come to find out, I'm pretty sure now that, you know, their neck is losing stability, and so they got to keep on trying to hold their head up.
Who has 2 black daughters couldn't see a black woman running this country. And he voted for a man who said day one, mass deportation. You're out of here. And he still voted for him. And I told him that when he gets his citizenship revoked, because they have the Supreme Court, they have the Senate, they have the House of Representatives, Pennsylvania is now red. When you get your citizenship revoked, I will not be visiting you in your shithole country.
Family, did you hear the nonsensical BS that came out of her mouth? And this is what they're trying to push. The narrative is now, oh, well, after they get them, they're going to go after citizens, and they're going to go after black American citizens as well. Now, her father became a citizen. She was born here, so she's a citizen. If he was to get his citizenship revoked, it wouldn't be because Trump is going into office. It would be because he did something massive to where they say, you know what, we're going to put you in jail, and also we're going to revoke your citizenship once you get out. It definitely won't be just because of the changing of a guard. But she is so outraged. She is so blinded by the narrative in which she was told that she called her home country a shithole. And that's why a lot of us in the new black media and the black grassroots, when people be talking about black Americans and people be talking about America, we go off on them. Because they know where they came from is shitholes. She's saying it herself out of her own mouth. But let one of us have said that before the election, she'd have been one of the loudest people in the room talking about, oh, my country beautiful, my country this, my country that. But since her father voted against what she called her interest, now it's a shithole.
I'm embarrassed. And I'm watching all these Latina TikTokers and how they feel being children of immigrants. And I am in the same position. And I'm like, I'm also a child of immigrants, of an immigrant. My mom is from this country. But you have 2 black daughters and you didn't think that one could run this country. Y'all.
She is not black. Golly. She lost and y'all still pushing that whack narrative. She showed you how black she wasn't that night she lost when she showed her ass to the Howard attendees. They waited all that time for her, and you think she came out? No. Then when she did, she only came for 10 minutes to do her concession speech, and then she rode off into the sunset with Doug. Jesus Christ.
People who created black women don't believe in us. And that is something that I'm having a very hard time. All
right, we're done with you. We're not about to get very emotional in this piece because you want to. White women are out here shaving their damn heads, wearing masks and apparently blue beads so that they can identify each other. Really? Really? I seen a video, and I didn't want to include it because of who posted it, but I seen a video of white women shaving their heads and other women having other women shave their heads as well. And I'm looking like, you guys are just really, really far gone. And this is why I believe that, you know, they're mentally ill. A lot of the people that Democrats target are mentally ill, with the exception of the black community. We were just insane. See, there's a big difference between being mentally ill and being insane. See, the black community don't have none of the issues that these people have. You don't see the black grassroots all over the internet crying and losing their shit because this president has been elected. Well, the president-elect. Because we know no matter who sits behind that desk, we're still fighting white supremacy in all its forms. That's the case. But our insanity came in where we kept doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. This election cycle, we broke the insanity. We gained back some of our sanity. We broke the cycle. But these people with mental health issues, they're breaking. They're breaking. Shaving their heads and everything. Let's continue. This man is the epitome of what we say these Democrats represent and who they are.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'm speaking in support of items 5 and 27 because we need to expand black voices. The voices of our African American brothers and sisters needs to be heard, especially.
Well, guess what? This election cycle, the voices of black Americans was heard. The power that black Americans have was exhibited. And we didn't mess around with it. We did it expeditiously. So, if you want to elevate black voices, how about you elevate our voices saying we want our reparations, we want a transformative black agenda, and we want an anti-black hate crime bill. No, that's not what you represent, though, is it? You represent white dudes for Harris. You represent the in the closet community. Oh, we ain't got to that part yet, did we? Okay, well, yeah, he's still in the closet. Spoiler alert.
After America chose to elect a white supremacist and educated rapist over the first African American female in United States history. And that's why it's so important now more than ever, to be an ally to the black community. I am in a non-traditional relationship, and the lover that my wife took is an African American with Puerto Rican ancestry.
If he's African American, we're just gonna walk right past the fact that your wife took a lover. But if your wife's lover is African American with Puerto Rican ancestry, he's not African American, he's Puerto Rican American. Missed us with the bull stuff. See how he tried to slide that up in there? African American with Puerto Rican ancestry. No, man, he's Puerto Rican. The man who's piping your wife down is a Puerto Rican American, not an African American. And I don't even use the term African American. But still, he wouldn't qualify for that term.
And I see firsthand the struggle that people of color go through on a daily basis thanks to my wife's boyfriend, Armando. Our country was built on a legacy of white supremacy, and we need to foster a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion here in Austin, especially since we elected a literal Nazi to be president.
Do you see how emotional this dude is? This is how emotional they want us to be, family. And they failed. And they hate it. They failed and they hate it. But this is the type of people that's running the Democratic Party as well. David Geffen. Oh, yeah, I ain't forget about you. The man who backed Obama. Oh, yeah. Why you think Obama passed more than 22 gay right laws into office? Because David Geffen backed Obama. The owner of Geffen Music Group. Geffen Records, I'm sorry. You know, the homosexual guy? Yeah. That's who you have backing people in your party. Democrats. Let's let this man continue because this is about to get more hilarious by the second.
My wife, she's put me on a sex strike because she is no longer able to seek reproductive health care. And before the election, I had my very own chair right by the bedroom. And now I have to watch my wife and Armando make love from the closet. And it's so lonely in there.
Oh, godly, that's hilarious. First and foremost, think about what this man just said. His wife put him on a sex strike. But she ain't stopped having sex with Armando. He got to watch from the closet. And it's so lonely in there. It ain't like your wife stopped having sex. She just stopped having sex with you. So I kind of feel like she don't have a problem with the having sex part. It's just having sex with you. Maybe if you would have voted for Donald Trump, that would have got her gears going. I wonder who Ernesto voted for. It's so lonely in there. While Ernesto's out there blowing your wife's back out while she got you on a sex strike. This man said, I used to have a chair right by the bed. I used to at least be in Ernesto's butt. I can smell the crack from here. Now I gotta watch from a closet, and it's so lonely in there. These are the people that supporting the Democrats.
So please, 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 for the love of science, for the love of healthcare, pass item 27 because abortion is healthcare and I am an ally to women.
You're really going to clap at that?
That was the most hilarious moment of it all. The fact that the fact that the representative, the councilman, excuse me, you got a slow clap and that man said, you really gonna clap at that? I find that hilarious as hell. Because people know these people have the mental issues. They know these people have mental issues. Now let's bring up this guy.
Trump won, fair and square. Motherfuckers, 15 million motherfuckers stayed home who voted in the last election. So it is what it is. So I'm gonna sit back with my popcorn and I'm gonna watch this crazy motherfucker say what the fuck he wanna say, do what he wanna do. He's got full immunity. He might go out and just like he said before, he's gonna shoot a motherfucker on Madison Avenue and not go to jail because he can't go to jail.
Fifth Avenue.
I'm looking forward to all these 12% of black men who voted for this psycho motherfucker. I sat home. I'm looking forward to them get their ass lynched.
You get that? They're over here wishing death upon us because we didn't vote for their party. They're wishing harm upon us because we didn't vote for the tether agenda, for the illegal invader agenda. The 2 Live tether is pissed off and he's wishing harm. And this is happening across the board with Democrats. As if we don't have an election in 2 years.
By the police officers, I'm not going to fucking protest under no circumstance at all. So I'm sitting my ass back with my popcorn, and the Department of Education, they're gonna turn public schools into third world countries where the degenerates are now gonna go to those schools, you know, guys with 1.1 average, gang rapers and all that shit that's gonna be in the public schools from now. So y'all better start getting your kids in charter schools and private schools right now because that shit finna turn crazy because the Department of Education is gonna be over. So I'm looking forward to this shit. Everybody who voted for this fucking clown, y'all gonna get what you asked for. Don't go to crying wolf. And so I'm gonna be all right, Billy. I'm straight. I got my catalog back, and I might put it on the market and move my ass to Colombia somewhere.
So the 2 Live tether, talk about I got my masters back. Maybe I'll put it. Don't nobody want that nonsense. Maybe you sell it overseas. Maybe sell it to some white women. You know they like that ratchet nonsense. I saw a video of an old white woman busting it open, singing "Sexy Red." So maybe that'll work on them. Nobody else really wants that nonsense, Luke. So you know I would aim at white women or somebody from overseas. But let's move on. People are painting over a mural in Atlanta, I believe this is, because she lost.
You gotta see me that one.
My girl just lost a day ago. Like, damn.
You gotta see.
Atlanta's being hella petty, and I love it. I love it. Now, I want to be fair and objective. So, I want to show the side of some people in that community that wasn't really flipping out, that had their heads on straight. But maybe it's just because they were, you know, Trump supporters. It says, you know, we're gay, not stupid. Gays for Trump. Let's check it out.
Listen, I'm not afraid of losing my rights because I understand that Donald Trump is not interested in taking any rights away from LGBTQ adults, but rather he is ready to wage war against these adults who have been harming and indoctrinating this country's children. How about you?
Oh, me? No.
No, I'm not worried because when he was president, he stood up at the UN and demanded that homosexuality be decriminalized worldwide. Didn't they tell you about that on CNN? No? Oh. Well, yeah, that happened. What about you?
I'm not afraid for my gay rights because Trump has already been our president. And last time he was our president, he had Republican control of the House and the Senate, and he still didn't do anything to our gay rights. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about losing any rights under a Trump presidency as a gay woman. How are you going to tell me he's against gay people when he literally had a gay wedding at his own house? How about you?
I am not afraid for my rights under Trump's presidency because President Trump appointed Richard Grenell, who became the first openly gay man to hold a cabinet-level position. I wouldn't consider that taking rights away. I think that's providing opportunity where it's never been given before. How about you?
Did y'all forget that he was the first ever U.S. president to enter office? Actually, even before he was entering the office, to be pro-LGBT.
Yeah, we're good.
Seems like not everybody's losing their minds, but some areas, you know, some people may be losing their mind. Anyway, let's move forward. We got people dancing and singing in the street, and it is hurting people's feelings. And with the max level of 300, 400, 500,000, we had some expert level trolling from one of the black immigrants. I want to play it.
Trump, everybody they know, they gonna vote for Donald Trump, that's the way it goes. All over America, all over the USA, they voted for Donald Trump, that's what I'm trying to say. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. I want to make America great again. Woo! I want to lower the taxes. I want to bring all American business back from overseas back to the USA, baby.
There we go.
Ooh, yeah. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over. Everybody can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over. Everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Trump.
Now that is some expert level trolling, and I love it. It's Bohemians celebrating Donald Trump. All right, let's go here because, to be honest with you, I can understand what this young lady feels because she did vote for Trump. And she voted for one specific reason, apparently. Well, several specific reasons, but one specific reason was like the cherry on top. And she's upset that she's not really getting that cherry.
You know what? I'm getting pissed off. It's been 72 hours since Trump been elected, and we are not getting what we voted for. We're not. And I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed because I could have sworn that these celebrities and these women on The View and all these places said that if we voted Trump in, that they was going to leave the country. And now I saw that the View, they showing up in black dresses just to mourn the president election, Trump being elected. That is not what y'all promised us. Y'all said that if we voted for Trump, that they will leave the country, and y'all ain't boarded a plane yet. And I'm getting frustrated. Trump, you gotta do something about this, because I thought our vote was gonna count. We did vote for that. That's what they not understanding. We voted for y'all to leave the country. And I thought that I would be seeing airlines being, filled up. Tickets would be hard to get because all the celebrities, all of Hollywood, all of these politicians, these journalists that said that if you get elected, that they was gonna board the plane and leave. I can't no more. Our vote ain't counting already, y'all. I guess maybe I'll give them another week, but time is ticking. Get on the plane. All right.
Hey, I feel it 100% because I was one of the people who called out like all these folks talk about they gonna leave the country and they really ain't gonna go nowhere. But to be honest with you, I was really surprised. I actually came across a couple who fled for the border. Let's check into it. Gotta cut the music on that because we don't want no strikes. Don't want no strikes. Look at these folks. Move to Canada. But when you look at this, hold on. That woman look black to you? Or do she look like she's cosplaying? With a Negro. Cosplaying. So technically, I don't think that, we lost much. But, yeah, technically it did happen. It did happen. Let's move on to here, because this brother was speaking some facts to the people who was losing their minds.
I don't know who the fuck need to hear this, but bitch, shut the fuck up. The man won. He won. He won. Beyonce don't fix everything around this motherfucker. How about that? He won. Shut the fuck up and get ready to roll into the new year, bitch. It's over. It's over. Your people didn't get up and vote. It's a wrap. Shut the fuck up. Stop hollering, hooping, and hollering. You bitches is finna pass out on camera hollering about this motherfucking election. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's done. She did all she could do. It's a wrap. It's over. It's over. She did all she could do. Not only that, she was the vice president, and we live in it's fucked up. So it's over. Shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down and just get ready for what the fuck is in store. Y'all motherfuckers is hooping and hollering and ranting and raving finna fall the fuck out about something that's done. The man is the motherfucking president. He won.com in that order.
This brother was speaking nothing but the facts, nothing but the facts, nothing but the mother-loving facts. And that's just what it is. Black Americans, we ain't afraid of the little scare tactics, all the hyper fear tactics. We're not afraid of any of that. We done made it through a Bush. We done made it through a Clinton. We done made it through an Obama. We done made it through a Biden. We done made it through a Trump. So we gonna keep making it and keep thriving. And only people with that defeatist mindset are tethers and shields and people who shouldn't even be in this country to begin with. Now let's move on to the next thing here because this dude spoke some facts too.
When people are like, where's Donald Trump gonna get all the money to deport millions of people? The same place you motherfuckers got it to fucking bus them and fly them all across the United States, put them up in fucking hotels, give them fucking apartments, give them free healthcare, and give them $3,500 a fucking month on a debit card. That's where we're gonna get it. We're just gonna stop giving them that shit and throw them the fuck out. It's pretty fucking simple. You guys already wasted billions of dollars fucking getting them here. Yes, we're gonna waste billions of dollars getting them the fuck out of here and getting back to being Americans.
Exactly. There's literally nothing else to say. The same way y'all been providing all these resources, we're going to take those resources and turn them right back around and push their ass up out of here. Period. Point. In black. Now, I wanted to show you guys this. Breaking. McDonald's worker ruthlessly beat 2 women. And, maybe that's what he got the felony for. I don't know. Maybe that's a warranted felony. I don't know. But I found this to be hilarious. Shout out to brother. Oh, nope. We ain't got there yet. This is a woman. This is something that I found very interesting. This liberal woman basically shuts down this other guy on CNN. I don't know his name, but he's speaking about actually providing tangibles for the black community. And as soon as he gets into the direct of, oh no, these people deserve this, and this woman basically shuts him down and tried to make it seem like what he's saying is nonsense. Let's check it out.
Ryan?
So I don't think this is necessarily a good thing, but what I will say is that for a lot of Americans, particularly a lot of black Americans, there is some sense of discomfort about the fact that when you look at high profile, high status, successful black Americans, many of them are themselves multiracial, first or second generation Americans, immigrants or kids of immigrants, or they're themselves intermarried. There are some folks, there's a group called the American Descendants of Slaves, ADOS, a kind of emerging movement that you see in some spaces where people say, hey, wait a second, you have folks who are not part of this multi-generational, long black American story who are claiming this mantle. I'm not saying that's necessarily a good thing, Lulu.
I'm just
saying
shocked that this is an argument that you are putting forward.
No, this is something I'm talking about as an analyst to describe the fact that the black community is not a monolith. There are a lot of complicated, conflicted feelings. More than twice as many black Americans oppose intermarriage as white Americans.
If your skin color is black, you're black. It is a completely ridiculous argument.
No. Black Americans aren't running around here talking about if your skin is black, you're black. No, we understand the distinct differences between a black American, someone who has distinct ties directly to the lineage of slavery in America, and someone who doesn't, who comes from outside of the country to benefit from the labor and wealth that the country built off the legacy of slavery. There is 2 different things in this conversation. We do not address everybody as just black. That does not happen. Now, the mainstream media tries to tell people who's black and who isn't, and we don't accept that.
To be made in a country where you had the one drop, where you had the one drop rule, where you were actually penalized.
Lulu Garcia Navarro trying to talk about the one drop rule. Them Latins, I'm telling you, them Latinos.
Legally in this country, if you had a single drop of black blood, to now say that this woman who is clearly black is somehow suspicious and is wearing a mantle and trying to assume some kind of ridiculous identity.
I'm describing public opinion. I'm describing the fact that this current does exist. And I think that when we're trying to understand the electorate,
let Ryan talk.
I think it's important to understand that this is one of those cleavages. I do not think that it was a good thing for Donald Trump to use this line of attack. I agree with Kara. Stick to policy.
This is not what Donald Trump. This is not what Donald Trump was doing. You are trying to explain something. If you asked Donald Trump, if you asked Donald Trump, what were you up to, Mr. Trump? He's not going to be like, that there's this current in the African American community that talks about the descendants of slavery. Do you think that is what he was up to? He was going there in order to do what he always does, which is to throw as much as he can against the wall and to see what sticks.
I'm afraid part of what I'm trying to do is actually try to give some insight into the fact that public opinion is changing, it's divided, and there is a big conversation about this. I don't think that this is the best angle to pursue, but I do think that when you're talking about the black community, he's not looking to win 90% of the black vote. He's looking at what are interesting cleavages and divides within that population.
I'm telling you, family, the audacity of these Latinos and everything else. You cannot tell people who they are or who belongs to their groups. You wouldn't try that with anybody else. But she damn sure just said this ridiculous. Yeah, guess what? This ridiculous notion, the group, Foundational Black Americans, we just shut down the election. Now, let's move on to Vanessa Jones and his statements trying to sound like he's a part of the new black media because, like we said prior, because we won, you're going to hear a lot more people trying to come out sounding like the black media, the new black media, because they want to gain some sort of credibility and notoriety off of it. But we know who's who, and we remember who did what.
The Kamala Harris campaign wound up spending a bunch of money on TV ads. And the TV ads sucked. They did not appeal to anyone, but it was dial tested, and it was all supposed to, the data dummies were up there telling us these are great ads, but nobody liked the ads. So people are now saying America is this racist, sexist, fascistic country because of this outcome. Listen, we've always had some racist, sexist, fascist people in the country. That's not what happened. What happened is you had some key parts of this coalition, especially black men, who were not handled properly. I can tell you right now, what was the agenda for immigrants? Comprehensive immigration reform. What's the agenda for women? Abortion. What's the agenda for transgender people? Dignity and respect. What was the agenda for black men? You still can't tell me. And that was a problem on our side. And when somebody walks away from you, you can blame them, you can blame yourself. The Democratic Party now needs to start listening. Black men have good ideas. Black men have given the majority of our vote to this party, but we deserve more respect than we got. And when you don't give people respect, they don't stick around.
What happened to the Vanessa Jones that was talking about, I see this love letter from Kamala. We need some mamala. We need some mamala. I could have swore that was Van Jones. Now he over here talking about black men are not being respected. The same ass that he's calling out, he was up there saying was good. The same people that we called out, he was sitting there saying was doing good. I mean, literally, we called out Biden when he was all slow on the mark, and all of them got on cold, right? They all said Biden was good until that goddamn debate. But these people would love for us to forget so that they can repackage themselves to become something totally different from what they actually are. Now let's get to this, because apparently the woman who apparently told FEMA agents to skip over any houses that had Trump signs, she's been fired. Let's get into it.
And breaking tonight, Republican lawmakers now confirming a report that says after Hurricane Milton, a FEMA supervisor told disaster relief workers in Florida to avoid homes with Trump signs in their yards. FEMA says it believes the incident is isolated, and the supervisor who gave the anti-Trump order is no longer in that role. The senior national correspondent Kevin Cork is live in D.C. with what we're learning about this tonight. Kevin, good evening.
Evening, Trace. Quite a story. Imagine if you'd been impacted by a major storm, hoping the government, the one that you send your taxpayer funds to, will aid in your recovery, only to discover that if you support Donald Trump, they're going to ignore you altogether. And that's apparently what happened in the great state of Florida, where a FEMA supervisor allegedly told workers in a message to avoid homes advertising Trump as they canvassed Lake Placid, Florida, to identify residents who could qualify for federal aid. And tonight, credit where credit is due, that FEMA official has been removed from her role by the agency. In a statement to Fox News Digital, a FEMA spokesperson said the agency is deeply disturbed, noting the official who gave the instruction was given no direction to tell teams to avoid these homes. Quote, while we believe this is an isolated incident, we have taken measures to remove the employee from their role and are investigating the matter to prevent this from happening ever again.
This is how far these Democratic shields will go. This is how far these Democratic shields will go. This was a catastrophe, a disaster, a natural disaster at that. And instead of trying to help everybody that was harmed, like your job is, you want to pick and choose who you're going to help. That is disgusting. That is disgraceful. And I'm sure it happens on the Republican side too. I'm not going to lie. But I wouldn't put it past either side. But this is disgraceful. And people need to be called out, need to be caught, and they need to be fired when doing things like this. 60 years. Shout out to Marcel for posting this. Black women, since the 60 years of voting straight Democrat, you have the lowest wealth, the lowest income, the lowest home ownership, the highest eviction rate, the highest birth mortality rate, the highest obesity rate, the lowest marriage rate, the highest amount of debt, the highest rate of poverty, and I can go on. Why the hell do some of you work so hard for the Democrats who have neglected you for immigrants in other communities? Please explain. And that is something I would like to know as well. For her to literally say, avoid homes advertising Trump. That just shows how deep her mind was set within the Democratic Party. Now, someone else is catching hell too. George Clooney, the man who was speaking for the Democratic Party. He says he's taken a step back from politics after being made the scapegoat for Kamala Harris' loss. Well, I mean, it was you out there telling everybody that, Biden needs to step down and everything like that. You were the, face of the money people, remember, George? And now you're upset because you was made out to be the pawn that you actually are? That's very interesting, George. That is very interesting. What you thought was she was going to win and you was going to be touted as a big face in politics. But what you actually found out is, nah, not so much. The same way Gavin Newsom thought that he was going to be able to take this picture with a bunch of different books that's supposed to be about black folk and think he was going to repackage his image. Oh, no. After you messed up in California, after you told those bootlicks to squash a bill or never bring the bill to the floor, refused to bring the bill to the floor that was going to be one of the most comprehensive reparation bills ever put into date. Oh, you think that you're going to get into office after you had these people mocking us? After you came out trying to wag your finger at the black community, talking about we need to apologize to these same people who literally stabbed us in the back? You think we would care that you put up a picture of you reading Beloved, To Kill a Mockingbird, and all these other books that are just sitting there? No food on the plate, nothing. This is the photo op. Don't nobody give a damn about your photo op. So, as I said, hey, Gavin Newsom, we don't give a damn what book you pretend to read for a photo op. Your national ambitions take you nowhere but right back to the brick wall known as the descendants of American freedmen. you will experience the same thing VP Kamala Harris just did. Enjoy obscurity. And I believe everyone should be making sure that anybody that is even in the running in the Democrats' minds get a message like this. I don't care whether it's Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, or anybody else. Whether it's Shapiro, whether it's Raphael Warnock, you all will lose because you all have been an open enemy to the interests of the American freedmen. Now, this sister brings out some interesting information. How, Kamala Harris actually raised $1 billion, but by the end of her campaign, she was $20 million in debt. Let that sink in as you listen to her.
So Kamala Harris's campaign is now $20 million in debt, even though she raised $1 billion. This is a person who completely outperformed her opponent month over month in terms of what she raised. Forbes even said that she outperformed him by 5-1 when it came to last minute donors. But her campaign, even though they raised $1 billion, her campaign is now $20 million in debt. She relied so heavily on multimillionaires and billionaires like Oprah Winfrey to come out and support her and endorse her that she didn't roll out policies sufficient enough for the American people. I cannot believe how disconnected with reality her campaign is and how delusional the Democratic Party is to think that people are going to ignore everything that they are experiencing, the high grocery bills, the high gas prices, all of those things they are experiencing. And because a billionaire like Oprah Winfrey or an actress like Julia Roberts tells you to vote for Kamala Harris, you're going to vote for Kamala Harris. I actually saw so many liberals getting super excited every time Kamala had a new celebrity endorsement. But we all know for a fact that these celebrity endorsements are not free. The only reason these celebrities like Magic Johnson, Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, the only reason these celebrities took time out of their day to attend a rally and encourage us, the American people, to vote for Kamala Harris is because they have been paid, and it looks like they have been paid millions upon millions of dollars to do so. That's the only reason they did it. I don't even believe that some of the celebrities who endorse Kamala Harris are voting for Kamala Harris. Some of them are probably secret Trump supporters. They just get on stage and say they're voting for Kamala Harris just so they can collect a check. I don't know about anybody else, but I have never had a celebrity show up and pay my bills month after month. So I'm not going to take advice from a celebrity on who I should vote for. And it also makes me wonder about Kamala Harris's so-called middle-class background. Come from the middle class and your mother had to save up to buy a house, all this stuff, and you can't manage a $1 billion budget? Who voted for Kamala Harris, you should take comfort in knowing that this person will not be running the United States of America. Because in my opinion, to blow through a $1 billion budget and have a $20 million deficit is only due to gross incompetence. And before anybody asks about Donald Trump's campaign, I can pretty much guarantee you this. If his campaign had a $20 million deficit, people would be talking about it.
They absolutely would. But not only that, not only did she end up in a $20 million deficit, what happened here? Let's do that. Okay, there we go. She ain't even paying her staff members. Shout out to Kid Gravity for putting this on my radar. This from the Hindustan Times. This is hilarious. Harris campaign concerts featuring high-profile artists reportedly exhausted funds, leaving the campaign in debt and staff unpaid. Kamala Harris had spectacular concert eve on the election day on Monday night, just before her sore loss to Donald Trump in the presidential race. The VP reportedly blew $20 million on the concerts And now the staff and vendors fear they will not be paid for their services as the reports of the campaign being in debt emerge. All right, that's something else. All right, yeah, so she ain't paying her staff, and she wasn't paying, apparently, some of the influencers didn't get paid. Yeah, so, yeah, what baby girl here said is correct. I'm trying to close this out. Close that out there. Move on to the next. But could it be that running on the Planned Parenthood agenda just wasn't the GIFs? Especially by a woman who is truly anti-black, a eugenicsist, Margaret Sanger. Could it be that that's why Kamala got swept the way she got swept as well? Because black Americans don't give a damn about abortions? And that's the same thing that Hillary Clinton tried to run on, abortions, and you didn't come with no economic plan whatsoever. But you thought abortion would be enough when the woman who championed abortions in the black neighborhoods, who championed Planned Parenthood, who championed what was called at the time the Negro Project. You don't think that has something to do with it? A woman who said this?
Her own words, Sanger pushed for a society that limited births to those she deemed fit to have children.
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born.
In 1916, Sanger opened the country's first birth control clinic. As a member of the American Eugenics Society, she advocated improving the genetic composition of humans through controlled reproduction of different races and classes.
Let me rephrase that. Genocide. There we go.
Often wrote about the issue in the journal she founded, called the Birth Control Review. In 1919, writing,
I personally believe in the sterilization of the feeble-minded, the insane, and the syphilitic. The most urgent problem today is how to limit and discourage the over-fertility of the mentally and physically defective.
Many point to a 1923 New York Times interview as proof of Sanger's racist motives, in which she referred to people as weeds, saying,
It means the release and cultivation of the better racial elements in our society and the gradual...
Let me correct that. She referred to black people as weeds.
Suppression, elimination, and eventual extirpation of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the finest flowers of American civilization.
She talked about the need for race betterment through controlling these weeds, basically undesirable people.
In 1939, after opening another clinic in Harlem, the birth control activist launched the Negro Project, an initiative supported by black leaders, such as civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois. Critics...
Up! You see why we calling out all these bootlicks? Do you see why we're calling out all these false leaders? Do you see why we're calling out everybody that the DNC put in front of us? Everyone that the mainstream media put in front of us claiming that they're our leaders? Because these are the same people that literally has been assisting in our genocide. And we're supposed to go vote for Kamala Harris? We were supposed to go and vote for Hillary Clinton. Next thing you know, they're going to try to throw out AOC. And I hope they do. So she can get handed the same L. But this is the person that they expected us to vote for, a person who's pushing a woman who had every intention on exterminating Black Americans.
Claimed the program used the pretense of better health and family planning for poor Blacks in the South as an attempt to limit the Black race. Ludwig says some on the left grapple with Sanger's past and how to interpret her legacy.
They know when she writes about human weeds, they know that it's repulsive. They know it's disgusting. The left will never abandon Margaret Sanger because if they do, she's the foundation of so many of their views.
Sanger once shared her vision for.
The left will never abandon Margaret Sanger because they believe in her views. They believe that every single thing she said is correct, especially when it comes to Black Americans. Do not get it confused. I'm going to be doing a broadcast on the Democratic Party, and I'm asking a very simple question. When did they change? When did they stop being racist? Because from the information that I have, and I'm going to go deeply down the line, they never stopped being the party of racist. It has never happened. Now let's move to this clip here from CNN. I got some things to say about this.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Sharmichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me.
No, we're going to run that back because I wanted to. I know I played that at the beginning of this, but this is the clip that I really wanted to address. So we're going to run that back again. You heard what he said at the beginning there before we get into the meat of it, but let's get back into it.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Now, first and foremost, it is not transphobic in order to call someone what they actually is. The fact that you're living in a psychosis, you're living in a delusion, you want us to live in a delusion with you, and that's not happening. The majority of Americans do not want their daughters playing with a boy. That's exactly what they are. They were born with XY chromosomes. That's what it is. So him even saying this, him even saying it like that is basically saying, no, you got to live in my delusion with me. And that's not how science works. Science is a very mathematical situation. And the math says either you're a boy or you're a girl.
Allow me to finish my explanation.
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Sharmichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Damn that. See, that's the problem right there. People want to be PC and respectful to other people's feelings. Damn your feelings. Damn your view. We know what science says. I don't have to go by your nonsense. The science is very clear. If you're born with an XY chromosome, you are a boy. If you're born with an XX chromosome, you are a girl. Period. That's it. Your feelings don't change that. And that's why it was considered a mental health disorder to even be or want to be trans. Now, I'm not against what you do with your body. That's your body. But here's the difference. You can't force me to accept you for anything other than what you are. You're trans. Live with it. But you are not a woman and you are not a girl. And trans men are not men. They're still women. And they can still get pregnant. And this is one of the reasons why people didn't vote for the Democratic Party. These whole narratives that they're trying to push. America's not down with that. It's a very small minority that's down with that. The bulk of America is not down with forcing this narrative on people.
Okay, so let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't. Just to be clear, you are not being targeted.
I am.
No, he absolutely is being targeted, and you led the attack because the white guy was getting offended.
But it's okay.
I'm specifically saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not.
He's not being transphobic. Telling the truth is not being transphobic. In a world full of lies, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, apparently.
He wants to sit here and
calling you transphobic. I'm saying you're using a phrase that you know.
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people. That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard.
It's no consensus that these are actually boys. Everyone outside of your little LGBTQ community are all pretty sure and consistent about it. Boys are boys and girls are girls. Boys are born with XY chromosomes and girls are born with XX chromosomes. And that's it. That's all. Even the look on the brother's face is like, what? But this is a narrative that the Democrats have been pushing. Jay Michaels. He's a rabbi. Go figure. Go figure.
We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and
case,
we're using that
but my point in terms
to take
of
away
its
healthcare from thousands of people.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness. Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested that they were working.
In those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports.
So they're lying in those ads when those boys who transitioned into girls or who claim to be trans is lying to say that they're boys in girls sports. No. That's absolutely the truth. They were born with wangs. What do you mean? They were born with a penis and testicles, not ovaries. It's a lie. Huh.
First of all, we're talking about
what's the
5 people
language?
in the
What's the
entire
language
country.
you would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me.
People in their gender? Then why don't they have a trans league? Why don't they have a whole league for them to play sports in against each other? Oh, because that would be the NBA. That would be the NFL.
Listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association.
The American Medical
This is not about the
Guys,
right?
just one second.
This is about trying.
The American Medical Association was the one saying that it was a mental health disorder up until what? The 80s. Jesus Christ. Let's move on to this next situation here, because shout out to our brother Black Alpha Network. This is why we are what we are today, because we're doing this nowadays. Back in the day, the Democratic Party used to do this to us after an election, kick us right out the car. And now they're seeing 2024, it's FBA kicking the Democrats out the car, and they're the ones rolling on the road trying to figure out where to go, how to stop, and how to roll. Well, no, they don't need to know how to roll, because they're going to be continuously rolling once we kick them out the car. After we kick them out the car. They're still rolling right now. We kicked them out about, I don't know, a week ago. About a week ago. And then we did this as well. We made Kamala Indian again. We made her remember her roots. Because I guarantee you she ain't going to come out with no blackity black. And if she does, she's going to be coming out somewhere in 2 years, 4 years, trying to promote the Democrats, and she's going to get her ass handed to her like Obama did. That's what she's listening to at home with Doug right about now. But you're going to see a lot more of the chicanery and shenanigans. You're going to see a lot of people trying to tug on your heartstrings. That think about the immigrants. Think about the immigrants that come here for a better life, and they're going to be separating families. Well, you know, Trump made a border czar out of someone. And that person he made a border czar out of, he set off back. Tom Holzman, he's the new border czar. He says he will not be breaking up families when he deport illegal immigrants, because he plans to deport the whole family. Shout out to him for that. I said that they could leave together before he got into office, but it would seem that they'll be able to leave together after he gets into office as well. Clap, 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 clap. Golf clap, if you will. Now, that got a lot of these folks peed off. They out here stomping the ground, talking about, hell no, we won't go. Let's get to some of these clips. Family, look at the signs. Here to stay. New York, stand together. Protect our freedoms, families, and futures. What about the freedom, family, and futures of the people who actually are citizens of this country, and the freedom, family, and future of the people who built this country that literally created the wealth that you guys come here to leech off of? What happened to them? What about them? You notice that this person is waving a trans flag? Trans flag. Interesting. But it's not about trans people, right? It's about illegals being ejected, isn't it? Oh, well, maybe. Wait, hold on. Found a clip. Why that would matter. Found a clip. Hold up. I guess it is about the trans thing.
Where are you guys from?
Venezuela.
Did you guys cross the border to come into the United States?
Yes.
¿Hicieron su proceso de cambiar aquí en los Estados Unidos o antes?
When I arrived here in USA, I can find a doctor to hormones, to plastic surgeries, all that I need to continue my process.
So did you do all this here in the United States?
Yes.
And did the government pay for you to transition?
Some plastic surgery is to cover it for the government. If you wanna go to doctor, speak with about whatever you want make in your body, in your face, breast implants and other tips to plastic surgery.
And the government will pay for it?
Is for me the only country that the government pay for a plastic surgery. In Venezuela, for example, the government don't pay absolutely nothing for you. And it's a benefit for the people trans.
Family, they out here paying for surgeries for these illegals. They said that these people are coming here fleeing from war-torn countries and their fear for their lives, but it would seem that they're coming here for more than that. Their countries ain't too war-torn. Old girl was crying earlier talking about she's leaving and never coming back until he's out of office and all this other stuff. If you can leave and can never come back until this president leaves office, then that means your home can't be too bad. That means that it can't be too bad where you came from. This person said he comes from Venezuela, where most of these Venezuelans are coming from. And he also said it's the only country that pays for plastic surgery that he knows. So that's why we're seeing this trans flag here, huh? Interesting. Let's head to this one, family. Now notice, family, they're walking down the street with a big old trans flag. You see that back there? That's very interesting. But like I said, who's to say that that's not who the Democratic Party was targeting? Because they was bringing in all these other people and they was breaking bad voting Republican. So now they're like, well, if we bring over all these trans, let's get some Latino trans, they'll vote for us. Let's get some Latino gays, they'll vote for us. Let's get some insert race here. Gays, they'll vote for us. And that's why the mindset of the Democrats seem to be imploding with every single day that passes. I want to show you one more thing before we get up out of here, family. In Minnesota, in the state that Tim Walz governs, Minnesota dad who ranted against Trump election gunned down wife, ex-girlfriend, and his 2 kids in unalived suicide. A Minnesota dad who ranted against President-elect Donald Trump online shot and killed, I should have said unalived, his wife, ex-partner, and his 2 sons before turning a gun on himself, according to authorities. The shooter, 46-year-old Anthony Nephew, had a pattern of mental health illnesses. Did not say it, family. Did not say it. I didn't even get a chance to read this article. I found the article and I put it to the side because I wanted to make sure I read this with you. But he had a pattern of mental health issues. And didn't I just say, I feel like the Democratic Party is targeting people with mental issues. Duluth Police Chief Mike Canoe. Hold on. Cinoe. Maybe. I don't know, family. Somebody correct me in the chat. On Friday, one day after authorities found 5 people dead inside 2 homes in the city. Authorities found Anthony Nephew's ex-partner Aaron Abramson, 47, and their son Jacob Nephews, 15, unalive from apparent gunshot wounds inside their home Thursday afternoon, police said. This is the mindset that we've been seeing all across the line, and people who's wishing this type of behavior onto the people who didn't vote. And this is a very sad situation. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. But the reason why I brought this up is because this all happened because a man didn't like the fact that Donald Trump won the presidency. All off of emotion. And he wasn't emotionally intelligent enough to understand that time will pass, as all things will. But notice, this hadn't gotten a lot of shine from the left-leaning media, has it? You ain't seen it on MSNBC, CNN, or none of that, have you? Because this is the state of Tim Walz. So, family, we are at a point in time where we hold all the cards. We train all the dogs, and we set all the pieces to the chessboard. It's our word and our say-so that's getting things done, and it's us not doing what they want us to do that's getting things done even more effectively. So trust me when I say, family, do not listen to anyone who says the black community didn't do this. Because as I just showed, it was us. We did this. And with that being said, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm, make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please make sure that you hit that link in the description, go to change.org, and put your signature on the petition for reparations. Family, don't be afraid of power. Don't be afraid of power. We've been without power for so long. Now that we are exhibiting how much power we've always had, it's time for us to stand on business and continue to implement that power. Cycle after cycle after cycle. And with that being said, family and friends, the doors of the church are now closed. Peace, family.